Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. A day after Prime Minister Modi praised the Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot at a government function, the senior Congress leader Sachin Pilot referred to it as a very interesting development that should not be taken lightly by the party. According to Pilot, who's been in a pitched political battle with Gehlot for years now, the Prime Minister had similarly praised Ghulam Nabi Azad in Parliament, and we saw what happened after that, referring of course to Ghulam Nabi Azad having left the Congress party, suggesting therefore indirectly, perhaps not so indirectly, that is Gehlot on his way out as well. After the crisis in the Rajasthan Congress in September, is this a Game of Thrones season 2 for power in the state of Rajasthan? What exactly was it that took place on a stage between where Prime Minister Modi shared the stage with the Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot? There seemed to be a fair amount of bonhomie. That's been interpreted by Sachin Pilot as being something strange. Perhaps is this an indicator of a friendship which could be something the Congress needs to be worried about? And then of course, how has Gehlot himself responded to what Pilot said?
मुख्यमंत्री के नाते अशोक जी और हम साथ साथ काम करते रहे और अशोक जी हमारी जो मुख्यमंत्रियों की जमात थी उसमें सबसे सीनियर थे, सबसे सीनियर मुख्यमंत्रियों में है। और अभी भी हम जो मंच पे बैठे हैं उसमें भी अशोक जी सीनियर मुख्यमंत्रियों में से एक है। तो उनका यहां आना, इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित रहना।
और प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कल जो बयान दिए, जो बड़ाइयां करी, मैं समझता हूं बड़ा दिलचस्प एक घटनाक्रम है, क्योंकि इसी प्रकार प्रधानमंत्री जी ने सदन के अंदर गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब की बड़ाइयाँ करी थी और उसके बाद क्या घटनाक्रम पैदा हुआ हम सब ने देखा है। तो बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग डेवलपमेंट था कल का, जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने सोते ही बड़ाइयाँ करी हैं। इसको बड़ा मैं इंटरेस्टिंग मानता हूँ और इतना लाइटली नहीं लेना चाहिए।
रणवीर गुड़ा बयान दे रहे हैं, बीते दिन उन्होंने अलग बयान दिया, आज पायलट के बयान, सत्ता संगठन
देखिए
को कैसे सरल होना चाहिए?
बयान तो नहीं देना चाहिए वैसे तो, क्योंकि अभी जो है अभी वेणुगोपाल जी हमारे महामंत्री हैं, उन्होंने कहा भाई आप बयानबाजी कोई नहीं करेंगे। तो हम तो डिसिप्लिन के पालन चाहते हैं कि सब लोग करें। अभी हमारे सामने एक ही मकसद होना चाहिए।
All right, we'll get to our debate in just a few moments from now, but first I'm joined by my colleague Harsha Kumari Singh. Harsha, is there a serious concern that Gehlot may be on his way out of the Congress as is being alleged?
Well, I think what Sachin Pilot is probably trying to indicate is that he definitely wants him dislodged, and he wants him dislodged in time for Sachin to work on the party going into the next election. What we've given to understand is that, when Ashok Gehlot went and apologized to Sonia Gandhi, and Venugopal did say that you will come to know who will be Rajasthan's chief minister very soon, nothing has happened after that. It's almost been over a month and nothing really has happened. The Congress has a new president, but the climate of indecision that Sachin called still hangs in Rajasthan. So obviously now there's a certain restlessness in the Sachin Pilot camp, and the young Turks do believe that if you want us to bring about any change or go into this next election fighting anti-incumbency, then do the change now, make the change now. But of course there is the other section of the Congress party, the old guard, which is not very keen to let go of power. And the old guard believes and has also demonstrated that Ashok Gehlot has in fact the majority of the MLAs with him, and so they shouldn't rock the boat just yet, given the environment politically where governments can be toppled in the country. So those are the two sides, the two opposing points of view, but clearly restlessness in the Sachin Pilot camp, Vishnu, and a clear indication that they definitely want to needle the central leadership into at least trying to resolve this crisis or coming out and hopefully even making a decision.
Harsha, thanks very much. I'm joined now by Divya Mahipal Madarna, the MLA from Ossian in Rajasthan. Thank you, Divya, very much for being with us once again. Is this a serious concern that Ashok Gehlot, has some sort of an equation with the Prime Minister which should make the Congress a bit worried?
दुश्मनी लाख सही रिश्ता निभाते रहिए, दिल मिले ना मिले हाथ मिलाते रहिए. I believe sometimes when you're sharing the same stage and you might be from different parties, you don't happen to criticize. But I also see the melodious and the sweet tone of the Prime Minister. It could be a warm gesture for the hospitality, as the Chief Minister of Rajasthan was the host to the Prime Minister of India. But I've never seen his tone to be so melodious towards opponents, seldom maybe. In the history, also, you happen to see Atal Bihari Vajpayee praising Indira Gandhi, saying Durga. It's all okay in a healthy democratic system of India. But as you know, they're saying what the political scenario of Rajasthan is, and it is certainly getting extremely interesting, and not only in the side of Congress, but BJP as well.
Yes.
I also look at it, as you know, he's not been kind to the previous Chief Minister of Punjab, who was heading a Congress government, Captain Amrinder Singh Ji. You know, when he went to Punjab, there were allegations made by and the propaganda created by BJP, you know, that there was a security threat.
No,
and
but Divya, let me ask you this. Let me ask you a direct question. Is this being done by pilot to send a signal to the centre that, look, it's been a month, I'm the heir apparent as far as being Chief Minister of Rajasthan is concerned. You made certain promises or gave certain assurances. Nothing has happened in a month since we saw that crisis in September in your party. Therefore, here's a signal. Is this what that is what's happening now, what this is all about?
I will not be able to comment on what he's saying, but I definitely differ with what Harsha was saying, that there is a restlessness in the Sachin camp. I think there's a restlessness in the entire Rajasthan, sari janta dekh rahi hai. Because there's a state of confusion. Everybody's printing, everybody's speaking, saying maybe the observers are coming today, maybe they're coming after the 19th elections, maybe they're coming after the Congress president takes over on 26th. Because KC Venugopal ji gave a statement that we will soon take a decision on what is going to be next as the Chief Minister face. Right. Mr. Gehlot himself said, when the media questioned him, are you going to continue as the Chief Minister? And he said, I will not take this decision, Mrs. Gandhi will take this decision. So definitely there's a question mark. Nobody can deny that. And you can't run a government in a question mark. Today, a cabinet minister, he's a young, you may count him as young, who's always keep raising the voice of the poor, has come up openly, a cabinet minister of the Gehlot government has openly come and said the bureaucrats are not listening. If the bureaucrat is of his own department is not listening, he's writing to Chief Minister to take an action. He's speaking to the Chief Secretary and says, please take action. वो हमारी मान नहीं रहे. You have a lame duck situation. We definitely need a clarity, and not only to the Sachin camp, we need a clarity for the entire public.
No, but Divya, isn't there the larger worry that assuming that this is more than a power play between Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot, something we've seen for so long, assuming it is more than that, is there not a worry therefore for the Congress that if indeed Gehlot is being wooed by the BJP, his entire flock would go with him? Because we've seen that when it comes to supporters within the Congress, Gehlot seems to be streets ahead of Sachin.
No, there's a difference here in that situation. What happened on 25th evening? Yeah. And what if you have observers in a hypothetical situation, if you have observers coming down to ask who should be the face, I'm telling you 99.9% MLAs are going to say we will abide by what is High Command going to say. Because 25th evening, Ashok Gehlot ji was going to progress. He was an announced candidate to be the Congress future president. There must have been a signal, and when everybody gathered, they could have thought that he's going to be the Congress president. Let's show our solidarity. Okay. Everybody came out. The situation is completely toppled off. He had to back out because of the people who did that indisciplinary act against the party.
But there's been no real action against those people, right? Other than a show cause notice? What happened after that show cause notice? All forgotten.
That point I completely agree that the party needs to take a decision. You can't have somebody questioning the High Command and people who are dead loyal to the Congress sit there and say, no, we are loyal and we condemn this thing. And the same three people keep going to Delhi and giving bouquets to the new Congress president.
Okay.
And apparently, they were giving bouquet to the new Congress president, who was also the senior observer sent to Jaipur, right, and who they were showing an eye to. So somebody who really knows that the Indiscipline Act was done by who is Mr. Kharge.
All right, well, let's see what Mr. Kharge actually has to say in all of this. Is this Game of Thrones Rajasthan Part 2 after what happened in September a power play, or is it something more serious? We'll see. Divya, thanks so much for for being with us this evening. I'm joined now by Rashid Kidwai, Sanjay Jha and Kapil Madan. Mr. Madan, it's interesting what Gehlot had to say when he heard what Sachin had to say. He said that this indiscipline should be avoided. So how do you actually see this entire thing? Do you see this as the usual sparring between Gehlot and Pilot, or do you see this as a serious threat? In other words, the BJP, Op Lotus, Rajasthan, there may be something over there as far as Gehlot is concerned.
So Vishnuji, let us go a few months before and see what has happened. When the Rajya Sabha elections were happening, it was Mr. Gehlot who ensured that there was no poaching attempt. I mean, the poaching attempt by the BJP was failed. Now it is the same Ashok Gehlot who ensured, and in fact he made a public appeal, public statement asking the Prime Minister to make a statement and call for peace and brotherhood when these riots, etc., happen. Now we have a situation here where, interestingly, Prime Minister on a stage is praising the Chief Minister, Mr. Ashok Gehlot, and to my understanding, it looks like more of a strategic move because Prime Minister's statement appears to have been made with an intent that you create an environment, you create a public hysteria, public perception that Mr. Gehlot is more close to the BJP, and in fact, what statement.
So it's hysteria which Sachin is trying to create. It's not true.
No, not Mr. Pilot. I'm talking about what Mr. Modi said. It looked to me, it is my understanding that this was a strategic statement that was made so that you create a public perception of conflict within the Congress party.
So there is no conflict within the Congress, Kapil? In Rajasthan?
Vishnu, in any organization, in any institution, in fact, that is true for any political institution also, that there is a competition. Everyone wants to compete and do better, strive better, and there should not be any problem with that. It is true with every organization. It is true with the
Kapil,
BJP
I think
also.
we need to not forget what happened in the month of September when dozens of your MLAs said that they were willing to resign in support of Ashok Gehlot. This was
Exactly.
I mean, what does that say about Congress party unity? I mean, it's
So Vishnu, if you recall, in fact, the same when this incident happened, Mr. Gehlot has taken a publicly he's taken a responsibility that he has taken the onus that it was his responsibility to get that resolution signed, and of course, that was an unfortunate incident, and the party has also on record has stated that it is an act of indiscipline. So
and nothing has happened after stating that. No punishment for Gehlot, no punishment for those 3 people served a show cause notice. I mean, it's an eyewash, Kapil, call it for what it is.
Vishnuji, I mean, now let's talk about the BJP. It is the same BJP, the same Rajasthan unit, where you have an incident where one of the faction supported by Mr. Shekhawat.
Oh, but forget about the BJP for a moment. That we are talking about the Congress. But let me just go across to Rashid Kidwai. Mr. Kidwai, I mean, is this political sparring as usual, but perhaps with a slightly tougher edge between Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot, or do you read something into the Prime Minister's overtures, call it what you may, towards Ashok Gehlot and vice versa?
Vishnu, I would not like to comment on that because we have seen in the past that loyalty is not, very effective tool. All those people that we can name number of them, whether it was Mr. Azad or Mr. RPN Singh or Jitin Prasad or Jyotirtha Scindia or for that matter Captain Amrinder Singh, they were all very loyal congressmen till the very end. They moved. So anybody can switch loyalty, and the Congress party is, I think, quite mentally prepared that anybody can leave the party. But as far as Rajasthan is concerned, I think it's a litmus test for Mr. Kharge. There is an unfinished work that needs to be completed in the sense of, CLP meeting in which Mr. Kharge was himself an observer. Mr. Kharge cannot afford to duck it. He cannot make it look as if it's a, business as usual. And that's where I think it's a very difficult call for him, because if he acts against Mr. Ashok Gehlot, there is every possibility of Gehlot turning a rebel, because there is nothing. There is a very bleak future for Mr. Ashok Gehlot if you look at it, if he's removed as a chief minister. And this time around, if a CLP meeting is held, then obviously, you cannot do the same thing what had happened. And second thing is, as disciplinary action notice was issued, they have replied, but the Congress High Command has not acted. So for once, I think Gandhis are out of picture. They must be very, well keyed, and they must be glued to it, and they perhaps they have a view also on it. But it is for Mr. Kharge to prove himself, his political acumen, and that's where the spotlight is on him.
Okay. Sanjay Jha, how seriously should the Congress leadership at all be worried about, what Pilot had to say and what he had to insinuate?
Well, Vishnu, I'll agree with Rashid completely. This is going to be an acid test of Mr. Kharge. Simple reason, Mr. Gehlot is the Gujarat in charge for the Congress for the forthcoming elections. The optics don't play out too well. The camaraderie, you can call it as a strategic, pussyfooting around, but this doesn't really look good for Mr. Gehlot. I mean, he's not just the Chief Minister of Rajasthan, which is going into elections. He's also been of late the man who rebelled against his own party. He actually created an internal conspiracy and encouraged a rebellion within. It was like a coup within because he did not want to be Congress president. And let me put the facts on the table, Vishnu. Sachin Pilot is absolutely justified in believing that he should have been the chief minister 5 years ago, or rather 4 years ago.
Yep.
And, end of day, the Congress has to have a new face if it hopes to defeat the BJP in the next year's election. And you can't have a Charanjit Singh Channi situation where a new man comes into the game with 3 or 4 months to go. So clearly, Mr. Kharge will have to take a call. And I think what Sachin has said today is absolutely justified, because here is Mr. Modi, who's been running down the Gandhi family, who's been castigating the Congress and talking about Congress Mukt Bharat. And suddenly there is this bonhomie and, this...
Sure.
Sudden affection of romantic infatuation on a public platform. All this is sending a signal today. And don't forget that this was the same Mr. Gehlot who the other day welcomed Mr. Gautam Adani with, a very red carpet welcome. I can understand that the state needs investment, but he's also aware that Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party has made Mr. Adani the what you call as the poster boy of crony capitalism. So in a great number of ways, he has been sending a message to the Congress leadership that I'm willing to take you on. He's clearly going to be cornered today because he cannot be the Congress president anymore. And I do believe that the Congress party is aware that he is probably going to be a political liability if he's not replaced.
Okay. All right. So let's see what finally happens. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. Thanks very much indeed.